Hi, I'm Terry White. This video is about making knitted dancing dolls. I am not a professional doll maker, nor am I a professional knitter, but I do make dolls and I do knit. So the written instructions are on my website, www.threadpaint.com. And this is a series of 3 videos on how to do the fiddly parts and how to assemble the dancing dolls. I hope you enjoy these videos. I hope you enjoy this project. Video is for the dancing dolls. See our little dancing dolls. See the little dancing dolls. And this is to show you how to do the little fiddly parts, okay? So we're going to start out with 60 stitches at the bottom. We're going to knit for 4 inches. And then we're going to do some decreases here, and then switch to just all the stitches on 2 needles, stitching with the 3rd, knitting with the 3rd. Change to the skin, do the shoulders, the head, and then after that, the head's going to be separate, and then the arms are separate, and the legs are separate. The legs are striped I-cord, and then they're sewn on at the bottom. I'm going to do a video on how to make striped I-cord separately. Okay, so we're going to start with the skirt. Now, I'm not going to show you how to do color work or stranded work. That's up to you, okay? So you're going to start with 60 stitches. This is approximately worsted weight yarn and all kinds of novelty yarns. Size 6 knitting needles. And of course we're working in the round. Now I've stitched 4 inches from the base, okay, up to here. And then I've switched to a different color yarn here for the decreases. Okay, here we go. All right. I'm going to use 2 different colors of yarn. They're pretty close in color, but there's going to be enough interest because they are different. And so there'll be a stripe this way. Let's knit 4, and then knit 2 together. Okay, so 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay, then knit 4, knit 2 together, all the way around. So now there's 50 stitches on the needles. So the next row, we're going to stitch, well, here I'm fiddly. 1, here, let me pull this, okay. 1, 2, 3, and then knit 2 together. Okay. And you're going to do that all around. 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together. For the next round, we're going to knit 2, and then knit 2 together. Okay, knit 2, knit 2 together. For the last decrease row, it's going to be knit 1, knit 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, all the way around. Now you should have a total of 20 stitches on your needles. So you're going to just knit just knit all the way around. We're going to consider the joining of the rows, right? Your beginning and your end as the back of the doll. So what we need to do now is move the stitches onto just 2 needles. So I'm going to start at the back here, and I'm going to put 5 stitches. See, 5 stitches. And then I'm going to take 5 stitches from this one, so that 10 stitches are centered on the back of the doll. Okay, so see, there's 10 stitches on this needle, and then the rest of these stitches I will put on this needle. There, so now we'll be just using these 2 needles plus, of course, a third. So here is the front. You see how nice and billowed that, how it billows like that? I just love that. And here's the back. Dollar. Okay. So, to start the bodice, and of course make sure that you've got 20 stitches. 5, 10, 15, 20. Yay! I love when that happens. Okay, so you can see that. Now we're going to start on the bodice. Okay? Okay, so now it's time to start the bodice. So I'm going to switch colors. And the first row is just going to be knit with a solid yarn. Knit those 20 stitches. The second row of the bodice, I am switching to making a stripe pattern. I really like striping up the bodice because it gives her such a slimming look. So you're going to knit the stripe for 8 rows. Alright, so I've got 8 rows of stripe stitching. So now I'm going to go back to the solid color, same one I used down here. Now at the first of this needle, I'm going to increase, and I'm going to do that by stitching in the front and stitching in the back of 1 stitch. Right? Then knit across. And then at the beginning of this needle, I'm going to knit in the front and the back with that first stitch, increasing 1. So now I have 22 stitches total on the needles. Next, I change to the skin color, joining at the side. So I've knit 3 rows of skin color. Now we're going to start the decreases for the shoulders. So for that, I'm going to knit 2 together. Okay. I'm going to knit 2 together and then knit 7. So what I'm going to do is slip 1 stitch over, knit this stitch, and then I'm going to put both these stitches, the one I slipped and the knit one, back on this needle, and then I'm going to slip the knitted one over the slipped one. Okay? So there's a decrease on both sides I'm going to do the same thing here. Knit 2 together, and then knit 7, slip, slip, knit a stitch, and then slip the knitted one over the slipped one. Alrighty. Okay, so we're going to do that for the next 2 rows. Knit 2 together at the beginning of the row. Knit 5, slip the stitch, knit the stitch, and then slip the knitted stitch over the slipped stitch. Right? I'm going to do that again on the second needle. You now have a total of 14 stitches, 7 stitches on each of these needles. You're going to go through this process 2 more times where you're going to decrease on both sides, and then you're going to decrease again on both sides, and so that you will end up with a total of 6 stitches. That will be 3 stitches on this needle and 3 stitches on this needle. There you go, there's the shoulders, and now you're going to be stitching on these next 6 stitches for 9 rows for the neck. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You want those 9 rows. Neck is very long. That's because we're going to be putting the neck up into the head. So what I'm going to do now is bind off the last stitches, and I'm binding off the front and the back together. Okay, so that's bind off, bind off. Okay, the next 2, front and back, bind off. Very fiddly here. Bind off. Very, very fiddly. And bind off. And then these last 2, bind off, bind off, and bind off. Now, you're going to want to keep that loop, cut your thread, your yarn, and put that yarn up through the loop. Okay, you want to keep this long because this is also going to help attach the neck to the head. So this is what you've got right now.